In business, have you ever heard the expression, you must simplify to multiply? How is it that, agents can go from 20, 30 sides working 60 to 70 hours a week and scale their business to 200 to 300 transactions working 30 to 40 hours a week? It's this concept of simplify to multiply. So how do you put systems in place in your business that make the business super simple so that you can scale the business? In today's episode, I want to dive deep into our key drivers, and stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to show you how to get a 15-minute training that goes a little deeper on the concepts I'm going to touch on today. And if you like the video, give me the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you turn on your notifications so you know about a video when it hits. Let's dig into the key drivers of a real estate business. When I think about the journey from grinding it out as a solo agent in 2007, 2008, 2009, where I sold 27, 44, 58 homes, right? I was working 7 days a week. There was nothing simple about it because I was doing every single job that a real estate agent does. And once I understood this concept of systems that simplify the business, and the system is anything that happens, or you create a system around anything that happens more than once a month. So if twice a month you do whatever, you pay your bills twice a month, build a system around it, and then get somebody else to do that system. Or you can even run the system, but a lot of people will pay their bills every day, right? That's not a system. It's like haphazard, just stuff coming into your world, versus the system is on the 10th and the 25th, I pay my bills. This is how we do it. And you could take, 20 days of work and put it into 2 days and spend a whole lot less time doing it. That's an example of just simplifying that part of your business so that if you wanted to get out of that part of that side of the business, you could. Let's focus now on the first of 4 key drivers. I'm not going to talk about scale today. I want to talk about attract, convert, and deliver, and specifically how we simplify in those areas so that we can multiply. When I talk about attract, this is your ability to attract buyers and sellers into your business, right? Prospects, high quality, low cost prospects. I call it attract because this is not paying Zillow to generate leads. This is you're attracting people into your world. So examples of this are database marketing, right? How are you putting your database front and center every day, making it a priority and thinking about it as a 7-figure oil well in your business? Every lead generation pillar, or we call them lead generation levers in Real Estate B School, every one is good for 50 transactions. And we have like 8 or 9 of them currently. We're building out more. Every one, when you go deep and simplify your business, everyone is good for 50 transactions. Whether that's our database marketing program or our social proof platform in terms of getting people to say good things in the SEO, the search engine juice that you get from that with Google, or our expired lead gen lever, or the FSBO lead gen lever, or open houses or yard marketing, right? All of these are good for 50 transactions when you do them properly. So simplify to multiply. I've had members come in they're doing 50 transactions, they're top of the top agent in their market, and they're doing 10 different things. They're paying for 10 different things to generate 50 transactions. I'm like, no. Like, you've heard me talk about Dan Jones before. He came in at 64 transactions with 4 paid lead sources. I'm like, no, you've got to cut out 3 of the 4. We went from 65 to 105 to 175 to 225, and we only added back 1 paid lead source. So to go up to 225 transactions, we had database, yard marketing, and 2 paid lead sources. One of them was realtor.com. I forget which the other was. So think about, how do we simplify the business from a lead generation standpoint to multiply the business? So that's attract. When I talk about convert, how do we simplify our lead conversion process, our appointment setting process, and our consultation process, right? Those are the 3 accelerators that we talk about when it comes to the convert driver. So for me, it was, hey, I don't want to sort of manually keep up with all these leads I'm generating. I have to figure out a system that simplifies the text and email follow-up, the copy, the headlines that convert the best over email, right? We added video into that and BombBomb and all of that, right? What's the lead follow-up lead management policy that I'm going to follow so that others that come onto my team afterwards can follow. And it's this simple, elegant system. With the appointment process, how do we set appointments with buyers and sellers and motivate them and compel them to say yes to the appointment and to actually show up? And we track that conversion rate, right? So what does that appointment process look like? The scripts that you use, the dialogues that you have, and then the consultation process. How can we simplify the process to sit with a buyer or to sit with a seller and get them to agree to do business with us on our terms, right? With listings to, at an asking price where the property is actually going to get showings at a commission rate that we can make the kind of margins that we want to make. And so simplify to multiply. We have listing packets and buyer packets and a virtual consultation process for buyers and a virtual consultation process for sellers where I could be at 5 listing appointments and 5 buyer appointments at the same time. Simplify to multiply. When you think about delivery, so we talked about attract, we talked about convert, and now delivery. This is where you're delivering on the promises in your business. This is where most agents spin out. They are sucked into delivering, meaning showing homes or entering listings into the MLS, talking to agents to get feedback after they show their listings, taking pictures of listings, marketing brochures, running out signs, and all of this crazy stuff that we get involved in the delivery phase of real estate, where even when you think about contract to closing, are you the person that's negotiating repairs, or are you keeping track of paperwork and keeping things legit with your broker? All those things, right, are not systemized. You're not simplifying if you're doing all those things. When you think about the technology tools you're using in your business, we use like 3 or 4 simple technology tools that we've used for years that allowed us to scale the business to hundreds of transactions per year. Since 2007, I've served 4,000 plus families. I couldn't do that if it was me doing all of it, right? So there's a simple process for servicing clients, for getting them from contract to closing where they still love us at the end of it, and then the critical technology tools that support all of it. So again, attract. How can I simplify to multiply? Convert. How can I get folks to say yes to meeting with me? And how do I, when they meet with me, how do I get them to agree to do business with us? Simplify to multiply. Deliver. How do I not get wrapped up in all the details of bringing a listing online, getting it under contract, helping buyers preview homes and getting them under contract to closing, right? How do I simplify to multiply in the delivery of the promises we made in sales? When I think about simplify to multiply, our CEO, she rules the world in Real Estate B School. She runs the team internally, externally. She loves on our clients. She was the first client of Real Estate B School back in 2013, Stacy Peterson. She was and still is an operational genius. She ran 222 transactions through 2 administrators. So when I think of like delivery and being able to deliver on the promises and simplify that key driver in your business, Stacy, I met her when she was full on in buyer production, full on in seller production, full on managing her team. She tripled her business in 3 years. She got out of production in 6 months to focus on the backstage of the business, because simplifying those operational processes and systems, she knew there was more value there than there was out selling homes, showing homes, entering listings into the MLS, doing equity evaluations, right? She was the operational guru. She was going to take the bull by the horns in terms of simplifying operations or delivery to be able to multiply that business. She ended up, like I said, tripling the size of her business, selling it for a 7-figure valuation in a market where it had never been done before. So if you're at the point in your journey where you're scratching your head on this whole conversation around time, money, and stress, and it doesn't feel right, just grab a copy of the Real Estate Business Growth Navigator. Go to realestatebusinessgrowth.com or click on the link below. I took a painstaking amount of time to just draw out the journey, the questions you need to ask yourself, the systems you need to be installing, how you need to be showing up differently at each stage of growth in your real estate business. So go to realestatebusinessgrowth.com. And as always, if you like the videos, give me the thumbs up. It helps me tremendously, just makes me feel good. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on so you're the first to know about videos when they hit. So don't forget, simplify to multiply. We'll see you on the next video.